The Marvels has been dethroned from the box office. Pedro Pascal is reportedly going to be cast in Fantastic Four, and Dune Part 2 got pushed up 2 weeks. Movie news. There's so much to talk about this week.
You were very happy about that Dune news.
Well, I was very happy and sad because we're going to be in Scotland.
On the
so
first,
we'll have to go to a theater, an IMAX theater in Scotland.
We got some responses on Twitter, and there are two IMAX screens in Scotland.
Cineworld, the movie theater chain, responded to us on Twitter.
Oh, no way.
They're like, hey, Raiders, come on over.
Did they really?
We'll save 2 seats for you, basically.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome back to the show, Raiders of the Lost Podcast, in another episode of Movie News. We have a bunch of things to talk about. 7 movie trailers came out this week, including Madam Web and Percy Jackson, a bunch of posters, some new releases, and some crazy announcements. But let's first get into the box office. In The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, came out on top with a $45 million opening weekend, a very good start for the film, which had a modest budget of $100 million. They also had a German tax break that gave them $20 million off the budget.
Yeah, Lionsgate's going to make a really good profit on this film because that's just domestic 45. International, it's probably going to pull close to 100 and then $100 million budget, maybe $50 million on marketing. It's not going to take that much to become a profitable film for the studio. So I think they did a great job with making this movie. Plus, they have a massive, rabid fan base all over the world that's been dying for a new Hunger Games movie, especially since Suzanne Collins finished the book in 2020 that the movie's based off of. We saw it. It's a good time. If you like the franchise, you will love the film.
It's great for fans, and I actually learned more about the character. I spoke to a fan, and they were telling me more about Snow and his psyche, and it actually changed my perception of his performance in the character in the movie. But it's a good time. Any fans of the franchise, like you said, will really like that, and it's going to be a good success for Lionsgate. They need it. Trolls band together.
Yes, they do.
I didn't even know this movie existed until right now.
I saw a poster yesterday.
The new Trolls movie came in second place with a very good $30 million opening weekend domestically. And then the big surprise this weekend, Eli Roth's new horror slasher film, Thanksgiving, had an excellent opening weekend with $10 million at the domestic box office. A big surprise, and fans and critics alike are raving about the slasher.
I think it's going to have great word of mouth. I'm going to go see it now. I was very skeptical of it. I didn't love the trailer for this movie, not going to lie. I saw a couple of the trailers, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm a fan of Eli Roth. I like Cabin Fever a lot. But
and the first
Hostel,
yeah.
The first one's great, even though how horrific it is. But I feel like from a directing standpoint, he hasn't had that hit in a while. But it sounds like he's back, and everyone's saying it's good. And I'm back in black! So everyone's excited about it. I'm definitely going to go see it based off the hype, and everyone's talking about it. Really good reviews. And it took over. The Marvels is in 4th place at the box office in its second weekend. It only pulled $9 million domestic, an 87% drop from its opening weekend, the second worst ever for Marvel. Its domestic haul right now is only $68 million at the box office in 2 weeks. This is a disaster for Marvel.
It's a disaster because next week it's going to drop even more. It's probably going to end its domestic run under $100 million, which is unheard of for a Marvel movie.
It's weaker than The Flash, right?
Yeah, The Flash made $55 million in its opening weekend. So it had a better opening weekend, and it also had a huge drop, but not this big. And also The Flash did okay overseas, but this looks like it's going to be under $200 million in total for its total, and it's possible it'll make under $200 million globally.
Marvel's going to probably eat like $250 million, $200 million in the red on this movie because, again, it has to make about $800 to $900 million to be profitable.
Yeah.
Because they're splitting ticket sales with movie theaters. Movie theaters don't show movies for funsies, everybody. They get an average around 40 to 60% of the ticket sales.
Funny tweet you put out.
Thank you so much. So they are going to eat a ton, hundreds of millions of dollars on the Marvels. That is bad news for the MCU.
And again, this movie would have been better if they made it on a more modest budget. So if you compare to the Hunger Games had a $100 million budget, but you take off $20 million for the German tax credit because they shot a lot in Germany. So an $80 million budget. And so they've already broken that profit. And now next weekend,
they've matched their budget.
Hunger Games will be profiting next week.
Yeah, probably next weekend.
Whereas the Marvels will never profit. So you can look at two films similar. Obviously, Marvels had a bigger budget, but Hunger Games is a large budget. But the way that their costs came out, they're already in the green, and it's going to be a success. And like you can make the Marvels for $100 million. It doesn't have to be $250 million.
Yeah, you can.
You can make it. Not every Marvel movie has to be as big as humanly possible with as big of a budget as possible. You can make a $90 million movie and then they would be okay with 9 million second weekend.
The Hunger Games looked better.
Oh, yeah, it looked way
than the
better.
Marvels. It looked better.
Yeah, it looked a lot
It was a
better.
really solid movie. Next up, we have Next Goal Wins. Taika Waititi's latest film had an opening of $2.8 million at the box office. Priscilla holding strong, $2.4 million for its fourth weekend out or third weekend for wide release.
Yeah, it's now Sofia Coppola's second highest grossing film. It just beat out Marie Antoinette, and it's at 17 million domestic total. So a very good, healthy box office run for the A24 film.
And then Saltburn opened limited release, 7 theaters, pulled $318,000. That is $45,000 per theater. It'll get a wider release over the next couple of weeks.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing Thanksgiving as well. With the great word of mouth, the great reviews, and fans of ours have been telling us to watch it. I'm like, okay, I'm excited.
Original slasher, let's go. People are saying it's comparable for like a slasher icon to like the new Ghostface and stuff like that.
Really?
I'll pump the brakes until I see it before I say something like that.
Eli's a good director because he's been straying a little bit away from horror. He made The House of the Clock and Its Walls was his last film with Cate Blanchett and Jack Black, and then he has the upcoming video game adaptation with Cate Blanchett as well. Of that, I can't remember what off the top of my head. You know what I'm talking about, though. Very popular video game that's
having production troubles though.
Yeah, but it's still coming out next year though, and Cate Blanchett's leading the ensemble cast. But he just signed on for another big budget project, so this is probably one he just like had time. He's like, let me have fun. But also, it's amazing to come full circle where Thanksgiving was just a silly trailer that he made for the double feature of Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino's double feature. And it was just like one of those trailers, a fake trailer, and now it's a film in theaters. It's amazing.
Borderlands is the video game adaptation that he's making.
Thank you.
Next up, let's get into the stories. Number one, biggest news of the week is Pedro Pascal is reportedly going to be cast as the new Reed Richards in Marvel's Fantastic Four. It has not been confirmed, but 2 days all the rumors started, and you know what that usually leads to. It usually leads to confirmation of the casting, which he probably signed a contract like 8 years ago.
For $1 billion.
Now, this is huge news. Obviously, Pedro is such a beloved actor, but do you feel like this might be give a bit of Pedro Pascal burnout? The guy is leading multiple huge IPs right now. Do you think that maybe he's in too many things? Do you think it could hurt the Fantastic Four potential? I love Pedro. He's a terrific actor, so charismatic. But do you think he's just leading too many IPs?
I don't think it's possible to have Pedro Pascal burnout, but I do think that for me it does take away from other projects he could do, committing to a big deal like this. Like this is huge because he's already got Mando and he's got The Last of Us, and now he'll be Fantastic Four. The thing with the big IP projects, and especially the Marvel world, he's gonna be spending a lot of his next 10 years making these movies. And like Scarlett Johansson recently said, and a couple other actors recently say that, like, once they got out of Marvel, like, now they can have more creative freedom as actors and performers to do different things. And so I think it's a great casting. I think it's a smart casting, both sides. But I do think that, I was looking forward to seeing what Pedro did outside of big IPs. And so he's not going to have much time to do, like, smaller projects.
2 TV shows.
Yeah.
Mando, he doesn't do much of the physical acting, obviously,
yeah.
anymore. He does a lot of just the voiceover work, so that's an easy production for him,
that's a good
usually.
point.
And then, but Last of Us, that's a TV show with 10 episodes probably the next season. It's going to be a good amount for him to shoot. If you know anything about the game, Joel's going to have a significant role for part 2, obviously. But
I think it's a smart move, though.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move for sure, but I'm just wondering, is he leading too many IPs? But actually, that's a good point.
Chris Pratt's doing that.
Because his face isn't really Mando, too much.
Chris Pratt's also leading a lot of IPs.
He's been an IP
because he was
for
Guardians and Jurassic World at the same time.
True, but and you know what? He never really had that burnout for audiences because people still love him doing everything. Even with Garfield, people are like, all right.
I know speaking of, he was cast as Garfield, and Garfield released its teaser trailer. Yeah, it was really funny.
There was a tweet the other day that I retweeted and made like a joke out of. It said, first look at Chris Pratt as Garfield. I'm like, great makeup transformation. It's like, that's a weird wording to put it. I mean, that makes it sound like he's on camera as Garfield.
So I think he was great as Mario, but I think Ed Helms would have been the perfect casting for Garfield's voice.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think Ed Helms would have captured the personality better because Chris still has, like, even though Garfield's like a downer and a loner, not like a loner and lazy and just kind of like lies around all the time. I think Ed Helms' voice would have suited that better because Chris still has like that energy inside of him that you can feel.
Chris gets butts and seats.
Yeah, that's true.
Clearly,
that's true.
Clearly gets butts and seats.
Kids aren't going to see the movie because it's Chris Pratt. They're going to see it because it's Garfield.
I mean, are kids going to go see Garfield?
Yeah, they made it funny.
Now they will, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mario, the appeal was to see Chris Pratt as Mario.
The appeal is Mario. What are you talking about? The actors are cast because obviously they're talented, but also to go to red carpets and then do press tours.
Exactly.
Kids aren't watching The Late Show with Jimmy Fallon.
I didn't say all the kids. I said he put butts in seats because Chris
You
Pratt.
said people are going to see it because of Chris Pratt.
For sure.
Verbatim.
There's definitely people
They
that
went
saw
to see
Mario.
it.
Out of all the 1.6 billion box office, you don't think anyone saw Super Mario Bros.
When
because
you
Chris
say
Pratt?
people will go to see it, you mean everyone.
I didn't say everyone.
5 people went to see it because Chris Pratt was
People
in it.
is an ambiguous term, Anthony. It could mean exactly. It could be 5 or a million.
But my point is, I think Ed Helms would have been better suited. His voice would have been better for that lazy
maybe.
Garfield.
Anyways, let's move on past Pedro Pascal's casting potential.
To the happiest you've been in a month.
No, I wasn't the happiest I've been in. It was actually, I was pretty disappointed. So, Dune Part 2 obviously was going to get released March 14th. It's been bumped up 2 weeks to March 1st, 2024, which obviously is incredible news. We're going to get to see it sooner, and they probably bumped it up to get more access to IMAX screens, I'm guessing, and get a little less competition there. This is awesome stuff.
I'm going to look at what's releasing that week.
However, Anthony and I will be in Europe. We're going to a wedding in Scotland on March 2nd, so we'll be in Edinburgh, and I was devastated when this news dropped because at first I was like, oh my God. Then I'm like, oh shit. We're not going to be in America to see Dune Part 2, so hopefully it releases the same dates in Europe as America. I'm sure it will. And
For a big one like that, hopefully.
Yeah, fortunately, we got a bunch of messages and people telling us that even though we'll be in Scotland, there are a couple IMAX screens in Glasgow and Edinburgh.
I can tell you why they moved it. This was originally Pixar's Elio's release date. So they bumped Pixar's Elio to 2025. And then this opened up the release date and then Warner Brothers was like, let's go in because that week, nothing else is coming out. The week before that, nothing really. Drive-Away Dolls, which is Ethan Coen's film. And then Ordinary Angels. And then the weekend after the first, it's Imaginary and Raymond's big movie. Nothing really. And then June 0, Karaoke on the Adamant come out the weekend after that. So it has no competition in March.
It's going to clean up.
And also Snow White was going to be the third weekend in March, and that moved. So it has no competition for the entirety of March. So
it's going to decimate.
Dune's going to rake in the money.
And March can be profitable. Remember, the Batman came out on
Yeah.
March 3rd, 2020. Was that 2022? Oh my God.
Everything Everywhere Else came out. It was a March release.
Was the Batman this year or last year?
Batman was last year.
Okay. It feels like that movie came out 10 years ago or yesterday.
It's because we talk about a lot of movies, man.
Yeah, it all blends in. So that's awesome news for Dune Part 2. Hopefully makes a solid box office.
So we can get Dune Messiah, man.
I'm crossing my fingers that we get an even earlier release than usual because we're going to be traveling starting like February 27th, 26th to get to Scotland and everything. So maybe
we get a boat. We're taking a kayak.
No, like you got to skip a day. You go forward a day, man. This guy, 15-hour flight plus a day ahead, man. You leave,
you do.
You leave the 26th, you get to the 27th.
Yeah,
It's like you forgot how big the Earth was. Earth is massive, bro. It's massive, bro.
I mean, in our context, but like compared to the rest of the universe, it's tiny.
Well, yeah, sure.
James is like, shut up.
Just accept the Earth's really big.
So I can't wait to see it. And hopefully, we get an early release. And then sometimes other markets get earlier release dates than America.
Not for Dune.
But sometimes they get a week later, too.
That's what I mean.
So hopefully we get earlier.
Because we usually get the early invites. It's usually like 3 or 4 days before the official release date. So maybe cross your fingers. Let's hit up IMAX and be like, hey,
when are you doing it?
When are you doing your super early screenings, not your early screenings? Listen, we're pretty important guys. We got to see Dune.
Biggest Dune fans ever. All right, let's get into the weekly Marvel bashing.
Which started earlier.
Well, this isn't really a bashing, but there was a big information leak. So Steven Yeun, who was announced a month and a half ago as being undisclosed role in the MCU, has now been revealed to be Sentry in the Thunderbolts movie, and it was accidentally revealed on a live stream. So Sentry is the MCU's version of Superman. While there has still been no official confirmation from Marvel about this, The Walking Dead and Invincible creator Robert Kirkman may have inadvertently substantiated the rumor. Speaking to David Finch on YouTube, Kirkman revealed that Yeun had called him following a costume fitting for the Sentry, with the pair joking that Yeun had a habit of portraying yellow and blue-suited superheroes.
Obviously from
I
Invincible.
guess Sentry's suit is blue and yellow. Let me Google this guy.
Yeah.
James told me about this. I was like, who the fuck is Sentry?
So will be a main character in the Thunderbolts film, which is coming out 2025 as well.
Okay,
and this was accidentally revealed on a live stream on YouTube. However, it's Marvel. You never know if these accidental leaks are real or not. I'm sure it was coordinated. That's usually how it works.
Coordinated.
Very seldom do we get obvious leaks like this. So I think it's one of those things where, oh no, I can't believe that got leaked, but this is all marketing. We're marketing a film that's coming out next year.
Yeah, so, I guess, so Sentry he has immortality, invulnerability, biokinesis, psionic abilities, power sharing, molecular manipulation, strength, photokinesis, and speed and flight.
Sounds
so
awesome,
He's got
man.
more powers than Superman, I guess.
Possibly.
Yeah, cool. He's got a yellow suit with a blue cape. Looks pretty cool. Pretty cool costume. See?
Yeah. I looked it up earlier. I wrote this.
So this here is.
I wrote this anecdote. You see?
So I'm gonna show you an image of Sentry which you've never seen before.
So I'm gonna take your phone and throw it off the wall.
But
if you point your phone at me, it's getting kicked out of your hand.
Like apparently Alexander Skarsgård was the fan casting for the past few years for the character. But I think Steven's a great actor. He's fantastic.
More on the MCU. So Avengers Kang Dynasty is up in the air right now. I remember they were going to do Avengers 5 and 6, Kang Dynasty.
Oh, I remember.
And so
we all remember.
Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton was on board to direct. However, he has stepped down and will no longer make the Kang Dynasty. With Jonathan Majors' legal issues, MCU may move from Kang to a different villain.
He's like, get me out of here.
Potentially Doctor Doom, or potentially recast Kang. But yeah, Destin has dropped out from directing the Kang Dynasty at MCU.
Yeah, and it just seems like Kang's never going to move forward anymore. And they might revisit the character in a decade or so, but looks like they're just putting the whole thing on hold for now.
Who knows, man?
I think that's a smart call.
Moving on to some Superman Legacy news. So obviously now that the strike is over, we're getting news of castings, which this has all been done, but they're leaking it all slowly out. So for Superman Legacy, Maria Gabriela de Faria has been cast as a potential villain. Angela Spica, also known as the Engineer. And when this got announced, James Gunn, quote, tweeted basically a headline. And he said, "Villain is such a disparaging term. Her role is being labeled as the antagonist of the film." Now, Angela Spica, the Engineer, is a member of the Authority. Nanotechnology gives her vast mechanical abilities. Liquid metal covers her body at will, allows her to fly and to create many things such as radio telepathy, bugs, weaponry, rocket engines, replacement lungs to cope with unfamiliar atmospheres, and even additional copies of herself. Aside from Corn Sweat and Brosnahan, other announced cast includes Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, Eli Gathegi as...
Hot girl or Hawk girl?
Hawk girl. She is a hot girl, but also hot girl. Eli Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, and Anthony Carrigan as Rex Mason Metamorpho.
She played Dora in the Dora movie.
That's right.
Dora the Explorer.
And she's also, we'll get to in a little bit, she's in Madam Web. Superman Legacy is due to release in cinemas on July 11th, 2025.
I don't know Metamorpho or Hawk Girl, but I'm sure it's going to be great.
The latter seems kind of obvious.
Yeah, and this villain sounds like a T2 villain.
T2 mixed with Terminator. Yeah, I guess T2 mixed with Iron Man. That's how it sounds.
Yes. I like it.
Sounds cool.
Sounds cool. Next up, we finally got the first image, which is a poster for Robert Eggers' upcoming remake of Nosferatu. This film stars Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Nicholas Hoult. The poster is great. It's basically Lily Rose Depp in period costume with Nosferatu, played by Bill Skarsgård, standing behind her in the shadows. You just get a hint of his face.
Oh, that's such an awesome look.
And it's great. I'm really excited for this. It's an amazing cast. And
creepy.
The Nosferatu film, the last one that was made was, well, the last real remake of it was Werner Herzog. Werner Herzog made it, like in the 80s or 90s. He made a remake. And then Willem Dafoe starred in a spoof of Nosferatu in the 2000s.
The original is from 1922.
Yeah, it's a great film. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be an awesome horror movie.
We have another prequel horror movie. The First Omen is coming out from 20th Century. Got the first image. It's a prequel to the classic horror film. It's just like the first orphan.
Oh my God.
Orphan's first kill. The First Omen.
I mean, I don't
Disney.
I thought Damien was the first Omen.
You know, say.
I don't understand this.
Je
Like,
ne
where's this
sais.
coming from? It's like, just remake the Omen.
You might as well. Didn't they remake it though recently?
Yeah, no one's interested in the Omen story. So the Omen,
All
the
they
original,
care about is just the IP, the title, the
yeah,
name.
the original Omen is amazing. It's a great horror film. I think it's one of the most underappreciated horror films of the 70s. And they've made a couple remakes. Julia Stiles starred in one in the 2000s. They made one, I think, pretty recently. I think it was a TV series, actually, not a movie. Yeah, it was a TV series. And now, I mean, I guess what else do you do instead of a sequel? You do a prequel. So we're gonna have a new Son of Satan born.
What's the trend going to be after prequels? Is it going to be pre-prequels?
No, then now
Because then they're going to be like, all right, what do we do next?
They're gonna do the guy who created the Omen. His story,
the origin story,
the origins of the origin of the Omen.
Because the
guy
prequel
who
trend's
wrote
going to
the
last
book.
only so long.
I mean,
or will it?
well, no, there's always gonna be. It's gonna be the same thing as a sequel. It'll always be prequels
But
and sequels.
because everything's going to have a prequel.
Yes.
And then what do you do with the prequels once those are done? What's the next trend? Make a prequel to
You
the
make a
prequel.
sequel to the prequel,
Okay, so yeah, okay. Then you
and
so
then you
remake
sequelize
it.
that because you can only do-
remake the original, which
Yeah.
will technically be deemed a sequel to the prequel.
It's a reset. So you get to do the sequel. I mean, you get to do the prequel, and then you can do a bunch of sequels, and then you get to do a prequel, and then a bunch of sequels.
That's a good point.
It's a reset.
It's a never-ending cycle. Got some news about the Alien TV show. So, showrunner and creator Noah Hawley was being interviewed, asked about how involved Ridley Scott was. He basically said that just like with the Coen brothers when he made Fargo, they're not really involved very much at all. They're executive producers. Ridley's an executive producer
By
on the
name,
TV
really,
show.
only.
And, you know, he'll pick his brain once in a while, but other than that, Ridley's doing his own thing. He's not involved with the TV show.
He's making Napoleon.
Yes, he's always making movies. Now, the series will serve as a prequel and set 3 decades before the events of the 1979 film Alien, which is weird because that means there's going to be no alien in it. Because unless there's a secret lab that found aliens earlier or sooner.
Well, this is
Because the show is going to be called Alien TV show.
The prequel was Prometheus.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of the storyline of humans.
Yeah, the prequel was
True,
Prometheus.
but-
I just watched Prometheus last night.
So I
I don't
wonder.
understand how this is gonna. There's just. I mean,
Do you think the xenomorph will be on Earth at some point? They'll have like a lab full of xenomorphs?
I guess so. How else do you do it?
Because you have to have the xenomorph on screen in this show. You have to at some point.
Well, it's called Alien. Yeah,
I know, that's what I mean. So if it's a prequel to the crew showing up to the distress signal in the original film.
The Nostromo is. I mean, that's the first. That's what I always imagined was the first interaction with the xenomorph. Like the xenomorph we know. The xenomorph in Prometheus is different.
Yeah.
It's a engineer xenomorph. So it's not. It's probably called a different species of alien.
It's a megamorph.
mega xenomorph, super xenomorph,
Creator morph.
and so I mean I'm not sure how this is. I mean, maybe,
Exactly, because
3 decades before that distress signal even came out.
yeah, I guess. So maybe they knew about the creature. I don't know. And they had samples of it. There has to be a xenomorph. I'll wait until I see a trailer, but I'm still not in love with the idea of an alien movie set on Earth.
I think it would work better. I mean, Noah Hawley's a really good showrunner. He's made some good TV shows. He's done a great job on TV. So maybe he has a cool idea that works.
Yeah, I'm sure he
I
does.
mean, I trust I trust him because he's proven himself.
Yeah,
You
he
know
did.
what I mean?
So he did Legion, and then he did Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo and Legion's cool. I've seen Legion, the first season. It's cool stuff. All right, let's get into the movie trailers.
Oh yeah,
We got 7 movie trailers. I'm not sure how I feel about any of them. But
I don't think I.
the first, actually, my favorite movie trailer this week was a surprise that I loved. All right, first up, let's get to Sony's big movie trailer. Madam Web, starring Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, and a bunch of other actors I can't remember who's in it. It looks like a movie. I was watching this and I'm like, is this real? It looks like a fan-made trailer.
It looks like it. I didn't know they could go lower than Morbius, man. It sucks. It's weird because the Craven trailer slapped,
Craven trailer's pretty good, yeah.
and then this one, I
wouldn't say it slapped.
It's just taking the internet by storm in terms of just being a new meme. It's become the new Morbius.
See the comments in the YouTube section?
Oh, it's my favorite thing to do is to read the comments.
It's like when Madam Web said it's web in time.
I saw one where it said, "This is the most movie of all time since Morbius." I don't know. This movie looks not terrific. I'm not gonna lie.
CGI looks very questionable.
Shockingly, jarringly bad CGI because they have the teaser before the trailer starts,
Yes.
obviously. And I remember just watching the teaser. I'm like, this is the CGI for a $200 million superhero movie? Goodness.
I was shocked. I mean,
Dakota sounds like she's phoning it in. I don't know if this is the dialogue, but it's so monotone. Which is too bad. She's such a great actress.
I got some great comments. Hold on.
Let's pull up some Madam Web comments.
I love what she said. With Green Goblin comes great responsibility. You don't need to see the future to know how well this movie's going to do. I love the part where she said, web this.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I love the part when the bad guy said, I'm somewhat of a Spider-Man myself.
I don't know anything about Madam Web. I don't know anything about these Spider-Woman or any of them. But it just doesn't seem like this is going to be it.
And also, I'm already burnt out on multiverses already. I don't know about you.
Is this a multiverse movie?
Yeah, she connects the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
She can communicate and interact with different Spider-Verses.
So that's how everyone's like a spider person in this movie?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
And also the future-telling movie has been done so many times before. Like
But
being able to see a little bit into the future.
Yeah, like a premonition.
Yeah, premonition,
knowing.
thank you, yeah.
But I guess that's part of the character's powers, right?
Yeah. And the fight scenes, they don't look good.
All right.
Next up, speaking of, we talked about earlier, Garfield released its first teaser trailer starring Chris Pratt, Samuel L. Jackson. We get the origin of Garfield adopting his human. And as a Garfield comics reader as a kid, it's got me a little excited, honestly. I'm not going to lie.
I love that comic strip. That was always the go-to whenever the comic comes and you get the funny pages and you go right to Garfield when you're a kid.
And Samuel L. Jackson plays Garfield's dad.
Yeah. it looks cute and funny.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks like a fun kids movie.
Next up, we have Percy Jackson and the Olympians, this highly anticipated Disney Plus series. Got a trailer for it. It looks pretty good. It's pretty good.
I never read the books and I never saw the other films. So
The movies are good.
Are they?
Yeah. Logan Lerman's the lead, and I like them. They're cool.
Nice.
For young adult books and movies, they're pretty solid. I never read those books, though. But
I've never read or seen anything about Percy Jackson.
But-
I think I just aged out and I was like, fuck this. I love Harry Potter. Better watch Harry Potter's good.
You'll never age out of Harry Potter, though.
No, never.
But it looks like a Disney Plus series at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
It's got the look.
It has pretty CGI looking CGI.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's a Disney Plus series. You're like,
But
oh, that's...
I know that fans of the books are very excited.
Yeah.
I've just never been into it.
What else do we got?
Sometimes I think about dying,
Same,
which is
bro. Oh, it's a movie title? Oh, sorry.
an upcoming Daisy Ridley film. It's a very small indie film. Like, it's nice to see her in a different context outside of gigantic Star Wars movies. And it's about this strange woman who is struggling to like fit in with anybody in the world. And there's a guy who's trying to date her, but she's a strange bird. She's a weirdo, and it's pretty cool looking. It looks very artistic and very minimalist, and it's interesting. I thought it was an intriguing trailer.
Next, we have Arthur the King, which is a Mark Wahlberg dog movie.
So this is based on a true story. This is the trailer that this is my favorite. I almost cried watching it. It's
Really?
so heartwarming. So it's based on a true story of these marathon. I can't remember what the kind of marathon's called, but teams of people. It's a cross-country marathon. The marathon's 10 days and 430 miles.
Oh, so it's like you hand something off to like...
No, you just do it as a team.
Okay.
And you get a bike. You have to swim. You have to climb mountains. You have to do all sorts of crazy shit. Run through the jungle. And it's a race. It's a 10-day race, and a bunch of different teams participate in it. And Mark Wahlberg plays a member of the team, and it's based on a true story where suddenly, as they were on their marathon, this dog kept showing up, and then eventually the dog started running the marathon with them. And the dog even led them on faster routes through the course, the terrain of the country. And I'm not sure if they really won in the end, but it looks like they don't even spoil in the trailer, but they do finish. But it looks like a really heartwarming film about family and motivation and the will to push yourself. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
Dogs are such always great characters in movies. Like that Channing Tatum dog movie that came out a couple years ago. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That killed at the box office for its budget. It was a very successful film. So people love dogs.
Yeah.
People love dog movies. That's not. I was just getting like.
Watch the trailer. You'll be surprised.
I just looked at some images. It looks really.
Yeah,
really
he was just like a
endearing.
stray dog, and then the dog was injured, but it kept going with them.
That's really sweet.
And then it became like a viral sensation on the news and media.
That's amazing.
Of like this team has a 5th member, and it's the dog.
It's also going to star Simu Liu, so it sounds like a cool movie. I'm going to have to check that out. Next up, speaking of Mark Wahlberg, we have a trailer for Ted Origin
Another
series
prequel.
on Peacock, and Peacock's just always killing it with their TV shows. I don't know. How do you feel about a Ted Origin story?
I don't know, man. Maybe if it's rated R.
I don't
know.
think so. It's Peacock.
Well, they actually they made a joke at Peacock because the trailer teaser is basically teenage Ted writing one of those letters to your adult self to adult Ted, and an adult Ted is reading it, and it said teenage Ted said, "The greatest, most respected streaming platform has agreed to make a TV show about my life," and then adult Ted says, "Yeah, that hasn't aged well." So they did poke fun at Peacock, but I don't know.
So it's basically he's in college, he's in a dorm.
Yes.
And they're smoking weed and stuff like that. I mean, I'll check it out.
It's Ted as a teenager.
I love
like
Ted.
18, 19.
All right. We'll go. Next up, we have a new animated kids movie for Prime, Merry Little Batman. It looks like a very cute, endearing movie. If you got any kids, you should check it out. It stars basically Batman's son, Damian, who wants to be a crime fighter just like his dad. I knocked over my Christmas tree.
You ruined the Christmas.
So he has to help his dad fight the bad guys around Gotham City.
It looks cute. It looks very cute.
Yeah, it looks very sweet.
It looks like an animated kids book.
Mike Roth is the creator of it.
Thank you.
And Luke Wilson plays Batman.
Batman with a beard.
Yeah, Batman with a beard, which, I mean, Ben had scruff.
Oh, yeah,
so it's cool to see that.
Yeah, but they do it so it's like, it looks like it's part of his costume when he puts the suit on. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's very cute. All right, let's get into the rest of the stories of the week. So there is an amazing Q&A between Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese during a Q&A showing of Killers of the Flower Moon. I highly recommend you check it out. And Steven Spielberg called Killers of the Flower Moon Martin Scorsese's masterpiece.
Wow.
Greatest masterpiece.
That's incredible praise from an incredible filmmaker.
So, and a person in the media at the crowd, they said that it was as if Mozart was interviewing Beethoven. I was like, sounds about right.
That's a good point. Yeah, I saw some videos of people in the crowd, and people were ecstatic for that event.
I mean, dude, man.
Two titans discussing film. That's so cool. I loved watching those interviews of directors and directors. Like there was one with Paul Thomas Anderson and Chris Nolan.
Nolan does
years
a bunch.
Ago. Yeah, Nolan does. Nolan and Jordan Peele was a really good one. So I really love those. They're very insightful.
Nolan did a Ridley Scott one. He did Spielberg. He did a Spielberg one.
PTA and Spielberg have one as well for when Phantom Thread came out. That's an excellent one.
He did there's a great one with Nolan and Tarantino talking about Hateful Eight.
Oh, that's a great
one. He's just picking Tarantino's mind about the movie. It's fantastic.
Let's move on to some news at Netflix. So obviously The Killer came out on November 10th, and we recommended it to you the last 2 weeks, and we hope you saw it because we're dropping an episode on it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
It was such a good one. We love this movie. It's going to age so well. The latest film from David Fincher is currently the top-ranking English-language movie on Netflix, attracting 27.9 viewers and 55
million viewers. Wow, we got 27.9 viewers, guys.
27.9 million viewers and 55 million hours viewed.
And the second place film on Netflix only had 22 million hours viewed. So it more than doubled the next best premiere on Netflix. So it was a big hit, and it's a much different experience between Mank, which was not a hit for Netflix at all. And so I think that Netflix is very happy with this one. They're like, all right, we got one from David. We got a hit.
He's got another movie. He's going to do 2 more with them, right?
2 more. He signed a 4-picture deal with them.
And you got to check it out. If you haven't, watch it tonight so you can prep for tomorrow's episode, everybody.
It's great.
It's an awesome movie.
It's a tight 2 hours.
It is. It's like an hour 59.
All right, next up, Mark Ruffalo is doing some press for his new series, All the Light That We Cannot See. And he recounted early in his career how difficult it was being taken seriously by studios. And he gave this anecdote of when he was up for David Fincher's 2007 film Zodiac, being told by studio representatives that nobody cared about him. He said, quote, "Studios, they weren't coming to me in that way. I'll never forget when they were negotiating my deal for Zodiac. The studio negotiator literally said to my manager, look, we don't give a shit about Mark Ruffalo. We don't even want Mark Ruffalo in this movie, so you're going to take what we're going to offer you or you're going to forget it."
Dude, my man Mark's always complaining. I love Mark Ruffalo, but he's always complaining about something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you made it, it's like, can you complain?
It's always something with this guy.
Especially, I mean, you see it a lot with younger actors. Not most of them, but some of them. And you hear them like complaining about how like hard it was for them to get to make it, and it's like, you're 19. You made it at 19. That's fucking insane. 99% of people don't make it, and you made it at the age of 19. Like, why are you complaining?
Anyways, yeah, I mean, come on, man. You're fucking the Hulk. You're the Hulk, dude.
Man, being a millionaire is great, but it was so hard to get there.
You were in the movie. You got Zodiac, bud. That's just actors. Yeah, we don't know who that is. We don't want them for the movie until they're famous.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. Anyways, I'm not saying I love Mark Ruffalo. I think he's a great actor.
Why do you hate Mark Ruffalo?
He's just always complaining about something.
Do we follow him on Twitter?
I hope not.
No, yeah, it's probably because he complains too much.
There's a great ad campaign. So Anyone But You dropped a new little trailer, a little teaser. It's
with an introduction.
Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, like in front of a blue screen, doing an introduction to the trailer. It's very like campy and playfully
it's
not
so
funny.
Fake. It's so fake.
Yeah, and it sounds like they wrote this, like whoever wrote that script that day. And then literally the next day, Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder dropped a spoof of it, like right away, dressed in the same kind of outfits. It's just funny to see like Glenn Powell, he's jacked in this white polo. And then Nathan Fielder, just like a normal looking guy, like stringy armed in a white polo. It's really funny. And they spoofed it basically like saying the same thing about their show coming out.
Yeah.
The what's it called?
The Curse.
The Curse. And it was really great. And so both productions are kind of going back and forth playing with it, where Nathan Fielder wrote like a confessional in his notes and screenshot it and sent and posted on Twitter saying like, normally I don't complain about this stuff, but the fact that Anyone But You stole our marketing campaign when we 6 months ago filmed this he said 6 months ago we filmed this TV spot. And then the day before we drop it, Anyone But You drops theirs. It looks exactly like it. He's like, I'm not going to point fingers. I can't stand when people steal your ideas. And then the guy who directed Anyone But You played more with it. He wrote, I don't want, in cancel culture, I got to confess. And I got to admit that we stole the marketing campaign from the Curse. And we apologize and we won't make sure it won't happen again.
That's
basically,
great.
It's really fun.
That's good that they both took it in good fun, especially the director of the Anyone But You film.
I'm sure they asked, like, but it's crazy how quickly they did it. But they're like, hey, do you mind if we spoof this?
I mean, it's good press for everyone.
It is.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
It's really, really funny.
It's great. And next up, our final bit of news for the day. Tom Hardy posted the first photo from Venom 3. It's just a set photo of him.
Let me see.
In character as Eddie Brock. And it's just him just holding a beer with the director behind him. It's very cute. I think they're just reminding people that, like, we're back at work,
Yeah.
I think it was the first day back since the strikes.
What's it called? So it's just the untitled Venom Let There Be Carnage.
It's called
sequel.
Venom Cubed. No, it's untitled. Just Venom 3 right now.
It's Venom, but the M is flipped sideways for a 3.
That was a terrible joke.
No, that's what they really did. It's the poster.
No, it's not. That's terrible. At least do the E, not the M.
No, do the M like that.
No, the E would make way more sense.
Yeah, it probably would.
I think they're just gonna go with Venom 3.
True.
I think Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Too wordy.
Yeah, and there wasn't that much carnage in it.
There wasn't.
There was no carnage.
There wasn't that much carnage.
There's no blood.
It was R, right?
Oh, it's PG-13.
Was it PG-13?
Yeah.
Oh, this one's gonna be R though.
Better be.
It is.
Good.
It should be.
It is not.
Nuts. Moving on to that's the end of our news. Actually, there's nothing to move on to.
This is a blank space.
Just
After that. I don't know where you're moving on
negative
to.
Space on my documents. Now, thank you so much for tuning into Movie News. Again, tomorrow we're dropping an episode on The Killer, David Fincher's latest film on Netflix. You got to check it out if you haven't seen it. We can't recommend it enough. It is just classic Fincher. It's just banger.
And be sure to subscribe to our Patreon, where you can help support us and let us be these full-time podcasters that we are. And if you want the ad-free experience of all of our new episodes, they are on Patreon and Spotify ad-free. To access them, all you got to do is join the $5 per month tier. Show me the money tier. That's a Frappuccino at Starbucks.
Frappuccino? Is that a drink at Starbucks? I thought that was like McDonald's.
No, I thought I saw Frappuccino at
Do
Starbucks.
they have Frappuccino?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Starbucks drinks.
Yeah.
I heard
I just
recently
have
that
coffee.
I heard recently that an employee of Starbucks, they took photos of all the recipes of all their drinks
Yeah,
and
I saw
posted it
them.
online.
Yeah, someone sent them to me.
Pretty
If
clever.
you want to make them, I was like, I'm not gonna make them.
But thanks.
I don't want a 600 calorie coffee drink. Thank you very much.
They're delicious though, but the funny thing is like no one's gonna make it at home.
You have to get the syrups.
you're just gonna go to Starbucks still.
You
But
gotta get the pumps.
So I understand Starbucks is probably upset at first, but at the same time, like they're gonna do it once, then they come back to the store.
Yeah, no one's gonna buy all the ingredients to make coffees.
Yeah, you're not gonna make Frappuccino.
You're not
every
gonna
day.
make although peppermint mocha sounds pretty good right
Seasonal.
now. Yeah, I'm gonna get that when it's cold.
Peppermint mocha is a good one.
Yeah.
All right, well, that wraps our episode. Again, tomorrow, The Killer. Wednesday, we're going to do another Movies from Memory episode we haven't done in a while. We're going to do Batman Begins, so wish us luck on putting together the nonlinear first 2 acts of that film.
Daunting.
So don't miss that. Episodes we had this past week, we did Homelander, Analyzing Evil Explored, as well as on Monday, we did Arrival.
Yes.
Which was a lot of fun.
He always forgets the ones he edited.
Oh man, Anthony's getting my nerves today. Everybody, look, he's feisty. Anthony woke up ready. He came out swinging on the show. Came out swinging, busting balls over there.
One little jab.
That's like, dude,
it was a little jab.
Jabbed me 17 times. Keep antagonizing me. See what happens.
Hulk over here. You should have played the Hulk.
Hey, we're gonna put your sandwich on layaway there.
Here's your fucking sandwich. If you know that movie reference, make it in the comments on YouTube.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and see you this week.
See you next time. You stole my line. See you next week.
That's what you get for the jab.
See you this week?
Yeah, see you this week doesn't sound good.
We're not going to actually physically see them.
So let's do it again. All right, take care, everybody.
See you next
time. Thank you for watching Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, notifications for sure. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out this other content we have on our YouTube channel.